Hello everyone. In this video lecture, we are seeing some of the concepts related to Module 5 of Microcontroller and Embedded System subject. Here this is the syllabus for Module 5, and textbook we have to refer Introduction to Embedded System, and that is by Shibu KV. Here in the previous video lecture we mainly concentrated on operating system basics and types of different operating systems, and task, process and threads. Also we seen one thread library, that is a POSIX thread library, and thread preemption, multiprocessing, multitasking. Also task communication is completed in the previous video lecture. Now in this today's class we are mainly concentrating on this task synchronization issues, so that some of the topics related to that is racing, deadlock, semaphores, that is a binary and counting semaphores. That topics we are going to see in today's class. Here these are the task synchronization or process synchronization issues. Mainly process synchronization means what? Synchronization or synchronizing. So we are going to sync two process. That two process should be in that means parallelism is there, means that is a two process P1 and P2. That is just I considered as an example. P1 and P2 are the two process. That two process synchronizing each other means there is a some of the conditions. That is, consider we have one resource, that is either a printer or a scanner. One resource is there and two process is there. Both the process, that is a P1 and P2, want to access that resource for execution purpose. So how that is accessed? P1 or P2, any one of the process can access that resource at a time. That is a condition. Any one process can access, or any one process go inside the resource at a time. Both can't. So how that one of the process is selected out of two, and which one go first, which one waiting, and which one go next, that concept is a process synchronization. So here there is a one concept called critical condition, that you are going to study about that in your operating system subject in detail. Now in that process synchronization we are going to get one race condition. That means two process is there, P1 and P2. Both process are competing each other to get that particular one resource. Only one resource is there, two process. They both process are fighting or competing each other for that one resource. But the one thing is, either both one can't get that. They are always fighting, because of that resource is free. So how to manage that? For that synchronization is required. Synchronization means there is a some condition called mutual exclusion, and some of the things are there. So that we are going to see here. If there is any two process are competing each other for one resource, then that is called race. There is a race for that one resource by that two process. So what is mean by racing, or what do you mean by race condition? It is situation in which multiple process compete each other to access and manipulate shared data concurrently. So there is a one resource, shared resource. In order to access that resource, both process, that means if there is any two process, then both. Otherwise, if there is a multiple process, then that means many process, we can call it as multiple process. All processes are competing each other to access that particular resource or data, and that condition is called racing or race condition. In a race condition, the final value of the shared data depends on the process which acted on the data finally. In the race condition, so thing is, we have two process, means out of two, after fighting, after competing each other, any one of the process will get chance to enter inside the resource, so he will operate that. So another is waiting there. So there is a competition. If there is any competition, there may be a chance of loss of some time, wastage of some time for competing itself. Instead of that, we can do some other things, that is out of two process, p1, p1 is go inside the process, then p2 can allow that p1 to enter inside resource, and p2 will wait, and after some time p1 will come outside, p2 will enter inside, then p1 will wait. So that concept also possible. So that is called synchronization. So there is a mutual understanding is required to solve these problems. Otherwise, there may be a chance of competition. Because of competition, resource, whoever want that resource urgent, or whoever want resource immediately, that particular process won't get that resource immediately because of this racing. So we have to avoid this condition. Now, because of racing, we are going to get another condition called deadlock. Race condition produce incorrect result, whereas a deadlock condition creates a situation where none of the process are able to make any progress in their execution, resulting in a set of deadlocked process. Here, race condition, that means we seen in the previous case. Race condition, if that two process or three process or 10 process are fighting or competing each other to get one resource, because of that there is a chance that deadlock condition create a situation, that deadlock will create one situation, none of the process are able to get that resource. We have 10 process, means no process will enter into resource. Resource is free, but no process can enter into resource, because they all 10 resource 10 process are fighting each other, competing each other. Because of that, they always competing, because of that no one can enter inside that. So that is called deadlock. Here we have one diagram they given here, that is, here that is a road, this is one road, this is another side road, four roads are there, this is one circle, in that circle 4 roads are connected. Now this vehicle can come here, one 4 roads also we have vehicles, this vehicle coming here, and this vehicle want to go this side, just observe that movement of cursor this side. So this vehicle want to move this side, and this vehicle want to move this side, this vehicle want to move this side. So this is a deadlock. Why deadlock? Here all are there near the circle itself. No, everyone want to go another side, but no one ready to adjust, no one ready to move to side. So everyone is hurry to go into the another side road. So there is a chance of deadlock. So this car won't give any space for any other car to move here. Okay, because of that there is a lot of uh, chance of, that is a chance of deadlock. Deadlock means all cars are waiting near the circle itself. There is a no movement. There is a no movement. Actually here behind this car all are the road is free. Then also they are not ready to allow that another car here. Everyone want to go another side. So there is a chance of deadlock. So or it is called traffic. In the case of traffic here, in this case of vehicle, here we have traffic. Just everyone going your in the four-way, everyone are blocking. Because of that block there is a chance of traffic. So traffic will lead to many problems. So this is a one deadlock example. We have another example here. Process A and process B are the two process. Now we have two resource also, but one thing here, process A will hold resource X and process A waits for resource Y. Now process A want two resource for execution. One is X, one is Y. Now process A having X, but process A will hold that and wait for Y. Now what about B? Here process B want both resource for execution, X and Y. Process B wants X. That means it need X resource, but it holds Y. It holds one thing and wants another thing. Here also it hold one thing, want another thing. So that is the problem. Problem is, you can see process A holding resource X. Because of that, process B won't get that. Actually process B want that resource X, but it is already holded by process A. And resource Y. Resource Y is holded by process B, but it wants process A wants resource Y. So if that process B releases that now currently holding, right, he releases, process B releases that resource Y, easily that resource Y is get by process A and execution completed. Once execution completed, resource X and resource Y both are given to process B and process B also completed. But both process not ready to leave this holding resource. He also holding one resource, he also holding one resource, but waiting for another resource. Both are not ready to release that holding resource. So there is a chance of deadlock because no one going to execute. Execution means both needs two resource, but because of holding process no one will get that resource. So there is again chance of deadlock. The different conditions favoring a deadlock situation are listed below. One is a mutual exclusion, second one is a hold and wait, third one is a no resource preemption, then circular wait. Mutual exclusion means what? So here the criteria that only one process can hold a resource at a time, that is a mutual exclusion. One process can hold resource at a time. So we have two process P1 and P2. Then out of P1 and P2, any one of the process can take one resource. Then at that time P2 should wait. P2 should wait. Once that P1 execution completed in that resource, then P1 will release that resource. After that P2 will acquire that resource whichever released by P1. Then P2 also completes its execution in that resource. That concept is called mutual exclusion, mutual understanding between that two process. Because of that both process will get that resource properly. Second concept is hold and wait. The condition in which a process holds a shared resource by acquiring the lock, controlling the shared access, and waiting for additional resources held by the other process. Here hold and wait we seen in the previous slide that P1 and P2 are the two processes. Then P1 is holding one resource and it is waiting for another resource. Like that, P2 is holding one resource and it waiting for another resource. Actually P1 holding one resource, right, that is required by P2 immediately, but that is holding by P1. Because of that, no one will get resource. Because of that holding concept, no one will get resource. Finally there is a chance of deadlock. So we have to avoid this hold and wait condition. Then third one, no resource preemption. No resource preemption means that is a criteria that operating system cannot take back a resource from a process while currently holding it, and the resource can only be released voluntarily by a process holding it. Now one process, now P1, if P1 having one resource, that means it is P1 already acquired one resource. P2 is waiting for that particular resource. Now consider two process and one resource. P1 already acquired that resource. P2 is waiting for that resource. Now condition is P2, how much time P2 should wait? P2 should wait till P1 comes out of the resource. And here preemption, no preemption means P1 will come out of the resource only when the execution completed. Once that execution completed, then P1 comes out of the process, then only P2 can go inside the process. That is called no preemption or non-preemption. Preemption means what? Or preemptive concept. That is, everyone should get chance inside resource. If two process is there, both process should get chance inside the resource. So how to give the chance? So one process we are giving chance. For that particular algorithms we are going to use for preemption method. But no preemption means criteria that operating system cannot take back resource. It can't take back resource from the process which are currently holding it. Okay, resource can only released voluntarily by the process holding it. That means that whichever process P1 holding, right, that process should release that resource voluntarily, then only P2 can take that. So that is called no resource preemption. Circular wait. A process is waiting for a resource which is currently held by the another process, which in turn is waiting for resource held by first process. In general, there exists a set of waiting process P0, P1, Pn, with the P0 is waiting for a resource held by P1 and P1 is waiting for the resource held by P0. Like this it continues. Is waiting for resource held by P0, P0 is waiting for resource held by Pn, and so on. This form of circular wait queue. The circular wait means now P0 is there, P0 is waiting for P1, P1 is waiting for P2 to complete, like this. Let us see this diagram. Here we have P1 we have P2. Two processes are there. We have two resources R1 and R2. You can see the arrow mark. That means P1 is waiting for R2. P1 needs resource R2 for execution. That is a P1 waiting for R2. But R2 is already assigned or given to P2. That is a P2 holding R2. Like that, P2 is waiting for R1 for complete its execution, but R1 is already acquired by P1. So P1 holding R1 and P1 waiting for R2. That is a hold and wait. P1 is holding R1, waiting for R2. Like that, P2 is holding R2 and waiting for R1. So that is a case of hold and wait. Also, there is a circular wait. What is a circular wait? Here you can see one circular format. P2 waiting for R1, but it is already given to, P2 is waiting for R1, but R1 is given to P1. P1 is waiting for R2, but R2 is given to P2. P2 again waiting for R1. R1 is given to P1. So this is one circular. You can see the arrow mark. So there is a form of circle. So this is called circular wait. So P1 and P2 can't execute because whatever resource required for P1 is there here, R2, that is already acquired by P2. Unless and until P2 is not allowed or P2 is not releases this R2, P1 won't get that R2. So that is the circular wait. So here also there is a chance of deadlock. So we have to go for these four conditions. We have to avoid this condition, four conditions. Then only we can avoid deadlock condition. Now, how to avoid the deadlock condition? That is how to handle that deadlock. So there are four things given. One is ignore deadlock. Either we have to ignore that, or we have to detect that deadlock and then we have to recover from that. Avoid deadlock. We have to avoid deadlock and we have to prevent deadlocks. So there are four things given here. Again, related to these four, we have different algorithms like resource allocation graph, safety algorithm, resource request algorithm, banker's algorithm, wait for a graph, deadlock detection algorithm. Like this, we have a lot of algorithms to avoid deadlock. So these are the four conditions to handle that: ignoring, detecting and recovering, avoiding deadlock, preventing deadlock. So these are the things related to deadlock handling. Now we will go for another concept called live lock. Here concept is similar to deadlock, but small change is there. That is here we are going to see what is the current state also. So let us see that the live lock condition is similar to deadlock condition, except that a process in live lock condition changes its state with the time. So that is the small line here given, changes its state with the time. You can tell that is the definition of a live lock. In the deadlock, there is no changes in time or with the time, but here changes its state. There in the deadlock case, there is no change its state with the time, but here changes its state with the time. So that is the main difference between deadlock and live lock. While in deadlock, a process enters in a wait state for a resource and continues in that state forever without making any progress in the execution. In a live lock condition, a process always does something but is unable to make any progress in the execution completion. Here, process always does something. It does something but unable to complete its execution. So that is the condition of live lock. We can go for one example. Two people attempting to cross each other in a narrow corridor. Both the person move towards each side of the corridor to allow the opposite person to cross. Since the corridor is narrow, very narrow, none of them are able to cross each other. Here, both of the person perform some action. That means they want to go another side. They are trying, but still they are unable to achieve their target, cross each other. That means they can't cross each other. They are trying, they are making many actions there, but they can't move to another side. This is called live lock. But in the deadlock, they are not doing anything. They are just stay whatever the position they have, stay there itself. So there is no changes in the state. But here they are trying, they are doing some actions, then also they can't go another side. So that is called live lock. In the case of traffic, we can tell they are trying to go some they're trying to give some space for the another vehicle to give that to go that in to go in that road, but then also that is not possible, okay, because the road is very narrow. So that condition is called live lock. But deadlock, road is we have broad road, but vehicle is not existing. There is a no synchronization. They are not ready to allow, just they want to go. So that is the condition of deadlock. Mutual exclusion through sleep and wake up. Here, sleep and wake up. The busy waiting mutual exclusion enforcement mechanism used by the process makes the CPU always busy by checking the lock to see whether they can proceed. The result of wastage of CPU time and lead to higher power consumption. What do you mean by busy waiting? So always they are waiting to complete. Now consider P1 and P2. P1 process are already acquired resource. So P2 process waiting to complete P1. That means to P2 is waiting for resource, but P1 is there inside resource. Once P1 came outside, then only P2 can go inside. So P2 always waiting there to enter inside that, but P1 is not came outside. So that is called busy waiting, always waiting for resource. But here problem is, if that is P2 process is waiting, always waiting, means there is a wastage of CPU time. Another is, that means P2 is waiting means there is a wastage of energy, right? Wastage of time, wastage of energy, like power consumption also high. Okay, it is always in on mode, right? That is on mode because they are waiting. So that's why power consumption also high. So what is the another solution for this busy waiting? We have that. An alternative to busy waiting is that sleep and wake up. Sleep and wake up is another mechanism to avoid this condition. That is a wastage of CPU time and higher power consumption. That in order to avoid that disadvantage, we are going for sleep and wake up. What is that? Sleep and wake up. When a process is not allowed to access the critical section, which is currently being locked by another process, the process undergoes sleep and enters the blocked state. Now process P1 is there in the resource. Now P2 is waiting, means no need to wait, just P2 can sleep there. P2 can sleep there. The process which is blocked on waiting for access to critical section is awakened by the process which currently owns the critical section. The process which owns the critical section sends a wake up message to the process which is sleeping as a result of waiting for the access to the critical section when the process leaves the critical section. Thing is, now your process P1 is there in your critical section or your resource, but P2 waiting outside for that particular resource. P2 also want to go inside, but P1 is there inside. So no need to wait. P2 no need to wait there, because if that is waiting, there is a chance of power consumption and wastage of CPU time. So P2 can sleep outside. By that we can reduce power consumption, by that we can improve CPU time also. Now when that sleep, that means when that P2 should wake up from sleep. Now anyway P2 is sleeping, but when it should wake up, that signal is given by another process. Which process? Whichever process is there in your resource, that process will give signal to that outside process that my whatever work is over in that resource, so you can go inside. That signal is sent by process P1 to process P2. Then only process P2 can wake up. Till that process P2 can sleep outside. Once that P1 work over inside your critical section, or it is called resource, then that gives signal to P2 to wake up. Then after wake up, that P2 can go inside, because once P1 came outside, then only it can give signal to P2. So this is the thing of sleep and wake up. We have another concept called semaphoros. Semaphoros means, here actually this is an integer variable, that by using that integer variable we can avoid many synchronization problems like race around condition, deadlock, that things we can avoid by using semaphoros. It is a software solution, not hardware. It is a software solution, and hardware solution we have different thing, that is a test, swap, test and set, like that we have hardware solution, but software solution is semaphoros. So we have one integer variable, we can give particular number, or we can give particular range for that integer variable. Now let us see what you mean by semaphoros. Semaphore is a system resource and the process which wants to access the shared resource can first acquire the system object to indicate the other process which want to shared resource that the shared resource is currently acquired by it. So we have two process, means for the second process, now P1 and P2 are the two process. For P2 process, P1 will give signal that I am already in, or your semaphore or your resource will give signal that someone is there inside now, so wait for some time. So that signal, that means you know your there some of the your radio stations, you are getting their on air, that means online, inside there we online program is going on, so on air. So that means the red button you are going to get there, on air means, so the something is going inside, so at that time no one can enter. So another blue color line or green color line you green color you are getting, means then there is no one, nothing is going on inside the room, so anyone can enter inside the room. So that is symbol, red color and green color. So like that we have that system in the semaphore. Semaphore are classified into two. One is a binary semaphore, another one is a counting semaphore. So what do you mean by binary? What do you mean by counting? Let us see some of the examples here. So this is the example for counting semaphore they given. So here you can see three keys are there. Three keys. Here lock is there. That key is there near the reception. So any person came here. This is the given one room, shared room. Okay, so that we have to consider as critical section. So only one person or two person or three person can go inside this. So in the previous slide we seen binary and counting semaphore. Meaning of binary semaphore is value range from, there is a no value range, just 1 and 0, either 1 or 0, only two value is there in binary semaphore. But in counting semaphore there is a range of value, that is from minus infinity to plus infinity. That is a range of value in the counting semaphore. Anyway, I told semaphore means it is a integer variable. That variable, that is a s, we can represent by s. So that s range from minus infinity to plus infinity in the counting semaphore, and that s value is either 0 or 1 in the binary semaphore. So now one example here, whatever they given is a counting semaphore example. Let us consider one room. There we have 3 bed. Okay, one shared room is there. There we have 3 bed. So how many person can go inside the room? 3, because 3 beds are there inside room. So 3 person can go inside that room for sleeping. That is considered one room or a lodge. Okay, in shared room we have 3 bed or cot. So 3 person can go inside at a time. If there are 4 person, there no place is there. Just for 3 person there is a place. Now for that 3 person, for that particular cot we have one, that means they have 3. So in 3 person can go inside. So here we have receptionist. Receptionist can allow only 3 person inside the room. So that receptionist is semaphore. So semaphore integer. So now that receptionist will give keys to that 3 persons, only 3 persons. So that 3 person entered inside room means that room is full. So 4th person came the receptionist. So 4th person should wait for that room to vacate. So any one of the person in that 3 is came outside the room, then that 4th person can enter inside the room. So that is the thing we have. So I will give another example in another slide. So this is the example given in your syllabus. Here this is the shared memory area, and here we have room, that is a room key available. Then that is a concept, just you can see this, and it is easy to understand. And this is a counting semaphore, that is a one room contain 3 chairs or 3 tables or 3 cots. Okay, so that is the minus infinity to plus infinity range is there, any number we can take. But in the case of binary semaphore, so here only one room is there, inside that one cot is there or one bed is there. So only one person can go inside that room, that is a single room. So receptionist can allow only one person inside that room. You can see here only one key is there, only one person can go inside that room. So that means in terms of critical section, so only one process can enter that critical section at a time. But in the previous counting semaphore, more than one, that means initially there is a number, so a yes value is there. So that yes value how much, 3 or 4, that many process can enter that critical section at a time. Other process should wait outside. Instead of waiting, we already seen in the previous slide, that is a sleep and wake up. That process also we can apply. Here I will go for another very simple example to understand this counting and binary semaphore concept. So here this is the first diagram whatever we have. So that here we have just assume this is one cutting shop, okay, hair cutting shop. So there we have one door here, okay. That door is some value counter is there, okay. There we have counter, that is a yes number, yes is a counting value. So now yes range from minus infinity to plus infinity, that is a range of yes we can take in the counting semaphore. This is the example of counting semaphore. Now I'm explaining. Inside the cutting shop, hair cutting shop, we have three chairs, okay. Hair salon we have three chairs is there. So how many person can go inside this room for cutting? Three person can go inside the room. So here yes value become 3, okay. Yes value is 3. So how many chairs are there, that much value you can adjust to yes. So that's why the yes value can range from minus infinity to plus infinity. Any number can placed here. If that thing, if that many resources are available here, then that many number can given here, yes, okay. Now we have 4 process, that means 4 person, you can consider person or process. So person 1, he will enter inside your yes. So P1 will enter inside this cutting shop. So initially value, what is the value here? 3, because 3 chairs are there. Initial value is 3. Now this process will enter inside this and he will goes to that first chair, okay. He will goes to that first chair and he will sit there. Now automatically what is the value of yes? One person came inside, so yes becomes 2, because only 2 things chairs are free, yes becomes 2. Now another 3 persons are waiting. Now consider second person. Second person is going inside. Once he opened that door, he coming near the door now, okay. Now what is the s value? 2 value 2 means he can go inside. So once he gone inside that room, suddenly yes becomes, now itself yes become 1, okay. Now itself yes become 1 and he went to that second chair, because second chair is free, he went to second chair. Now yes becomes 1. So yes 1 means one chair is free, that means one person can go inside. Like that we have 2 person are waiting. So third person, he is coming here now near the door, yes is 1. So it is opening, door is opening, right, because one chair is there, yes is 1. So he will enter inside that, suddenly yes becomes 0. Yes becomes 0. So he will go to that point. Which point? There one chair that is free, so he will go to that point, that chair. So that 3 chairs are busy. Now there is no place in the hair salon. So yes is 0. That yes is 0 means no person can enter inside that hair cutting salon, okay. So now consider another person. Another person came near the door. What is the value of yes? Yes is 0. Yes is 0. So he can go inside the where? Waiting room. He is waiting near the inside waiting room. So waiting room, he will go inside the waiting room and here many chairs are there. There he will sit and he is waiting for that. Okay. So now he is here. One thing is so once he entered inside your waiting room, and he already taken some chair in the waiting room, he sit there. But yes value is automatically updated as, because yes is connected to waiting room also, yes value is either you can consider like this also. Yes can't enter here because it is 0. So he is going to waiting room. At that time yes is updated because yes this entire building, okay, entire building. So yes is automatically updated as -1. Why it is -1? So 0, 3 persons, no place inside this, but one person is already came near the door and he went to waiting room. So someone is there in waiting room, so yes becomes minus 1. One process or one person is there in waiting room, so yes becomes minus 1. So consider another person come here, and here s becomes minus 1, right? So he will go inside the waiting room and he will sit there, so s becomes minus 2. That means here room is full and two process is waiting inside, two persons are waiting inside the waiting room for enter inside the room. So now s is minus 2. Now consider suddenly p1 cutting is over, he will come out. P1 cutting is over, he will come out. So there we have one chair free, right? There we have one chair free. So at that time, so here one chair is free, P2 came outside, yes becomes here initially what is that 0 minus 1 is a minus 2. That means two processes are there near the inside the waiting room. So there is a one system that there is a wake up. So they entered inside waiting room, system will send one wake up signal for all process present inside waiting room. So now here two process are there, means two persons, for two persons this system will send one waiting signal, that means wake up signal. So they are here, wake up signal came in the waiting room, means that means there is a one chair is free. So that person is coming here and he will enter inside here and he will goes to that chair. So that he in that room many peoples are there, that people will get idea about that chair free only when wake up signal came inside the waiting room. So that is the concept of counting. Counting means again in the one term we have many here chairs or we have many resources. Okay, we can go from minus infinity to plus infinity value, that yes value. Now consider binary semaphore. Binary means only one chair, same concept, only one chair is there. So what is the value of yes? 1, right? 1, because here chair is free, initially it is 1. So here three processes are waiting, one process is coming here and enter, so automatically s becomes 0. That means chair is not here, he will goes to that chair. Yes, now yes becomes 0 because no chair is full, so no one can enter inside. So if anyone came here, they should goes to waiting room. So then if that person cutting is over, then he that person comes outside this here, now he came here, then yes is 0 itself. Once he opened that door and came out of the room, suddenly yes becomes 1. That means chair is free. Then he will go outside, so another person can go inside. So here yes value is either 1 or 0. 1 means chair is free, 0 means chair is full. So only yes take value 1 or 0. This is called binary semaphore. Okay, so I think you understood this concept. Now how to choose RTOS? We have some different factors to select or to select the RTOS. RTOS means real-time operating system. What are the factors to select real-time operating system? That we can see here. So one of the main criteria is functional requirements and non-functional requirement. What are the requirement? What are the factors required? So one is functional, one is a non-functional. We are dividing entire requirements into two parts. One is a functional, one is a non-functional. So we will see that functional requirement first, then we will see non-functional requirement. These are requirements only for RTOS. To select RTOS, we need these requirements. We have to go for these requirements. So first we have to go for functional requirement. So what do you mean by functional requirement? First one is a processor support. So how your processor is supported for that RTOS. How your RTOS and processor are there is a that what means we need some communication, right? Proper communication between your operating system and processor. So how it will happen? So which are the operating system is you can install in that processor. About that is a processor support is very much important in the case of selecting RTOS. Okay, so processor requirement is the first one. Processor support, which processor will support for that which RTOS, that thing is very important. Then we can go for second one, memory requirement. And memory means we have two things, RAM or ROM, right? Secondary memory, primary memory, RAM, ROM. So RAM is used for storing your OS, operating system. Real-time operating system is stored in ROM because we need that permanently, right? Because whatever you stored in the RAM, that is erased when you switch off your device. So we don't want to store your operating system inside RAM. We have to store inside ROM. So memory requirement also very important. What is the size of the RAM, what is the size of the ROM, and which type of RAM and ROM we are using. That thing depend on that we can select your RTOS, that is a real-time operating system. And for your real-time operating system, how much memory is required also, that is also very one of the criteria. Okay, so one is the processor support is required, another is what is the memory requirements, different size and quantity. That means so many memory requirements are there for RAM and ROM. And another thing is real-time capability. And real-time capability is we can't expect from all of the RTOS. Okay, real-time means some of the OS are real-time but not all. So real-time operating system, while coming to real-time operating system, we can expect these real-time capabilities not from all operating systems. Okay, this is also one of the requirement for your embedded system. Then we can go for another functional requirement to choose your RTOS. That means what we are going to see is how to choose RTOS. So kernel and interrupt latency. So one thing here, interrupt latency, we have to get very less interrupt latency, or we have to choose the RTOS with the less interrupt latency. So that means your RTOS or real-time operating system is good whichever having less interrupt latency. So that is also one of the requirement to choose your real-time operating system. Then anyway, we have inter-process communication that we seen in the previous video lecture, IPC. That is mainly for task or process communication purpose. So between two process or between two tasks, communication is required. And synchronization also. Synchronization is there are different methods for synchronization. While choosing your RTOS, we have to concentrate about communication and synchronization concepts. And then we have modularization support. Modularization means a different module that we seen in the previous one video lecture about module, that is a source module. In the case of language support, there we seen modularization. So modularization support also required to choose your RTOS. Then we seen support for networking and communication. Anyway, internet or that networking, about that for communication purpose we need networking, right? So how your RTOS will adapt for that networking, or how we can perform that networking concept in your RTOS, that thing also required while choosing your RTOS, real-time operating system. We need network capabilities also. Then we have development language support. Yes, anyway, development language, which are the language we can use to develop your real-time operating system, that is also matters here. That we can consider as functional requirements like C, C++, Java, which different languages are there. Which language we are going to consider, that thing also one of the factor here. Then while coming to non-functional requirements, some custom developed or off the shelf. So you know this we seen in the module 3 related to custom developed like COTS. COTS means there initially that is already developed device is there, hardware or software. So already it is developed and available in market. So some many of the your software RTOS is available in your market itself. That means you can download from the internet on free with the we have free softwares, real-time operating systems. You can download that also. Okay, we can tell it as we are that software or real-time softwares are available in your open source we are available freely. Okay, so you can see that RTOS also. So that is another non-functional requirements, readily available softwares. And while coming to cost, there is a second requirement, cost. Either you are developing some RTOS or you are buying some RTOS, then main thing is the cost. So how much cost is required to develop one RTOS, how much cost is required to buy one RTOS. So everything is very much required thing or essential thing. Okay, then we have development debugging tool availability. Anyway, you are taking one RTOS means what are the different development tools are there, or what are the different debugging tools are there in that RTOS. Everything we have to see that. Otherwise once you buy once you taken that software means after that you should not go for that update. Either you can go for update also. If that is available, then you can go for operating system update. Sometimes then also we will get some of the availabilities, that is a debugging availability, debugging tools or development tools when you update. So that mainly we have to go for this debugging and development tools. We need that. Okay, then while coming to another one, that is a ease of use. So how easy, that means to operate your RTOS. To operate means in order to do any work in that particular operating system, so how much easy, that is also matter. Okay, and last one is after sales. After sales means how much service is given by that manufacturer. So either through email or through updates or through any phone contacts, how much service they will give for your particular real-time operating system after sale. That is also one of the main thing while coming to RTOS choosing. Okay, how to choose RTOS, that are the two requirements, functional and non-functional. In the functional requirement we have, these are the different requirements for choosing RTOS, and the non-functional requirement, these are the different requirements, that is a cost, ease of use, after sale, that is coming under non-functional requirements. So in the next class we will see some of the different methods, that is the IDE method of embedded system. In this present class we completed mainly binary semaphore and how to choose RTOS, counting semaphores, and we seen some of the mainly this one, what is the deadlock concept, and method to handle deadlock, how to handle that deadlock. That concept also we seen in the previous slides. Also here semaphores and mutual exclusions, sleep and wake up, live lock concept, and deadlock concept. So in the next class we will start some other topic. Thank you.